Hi guys, my name is Mary Joy Chuba. I'm with Science Garcia Law Firm, and today joining me is Liliani, one of our stellar team members from the EB department here at Science Garcia. She has some questions for me, so she'll be asking those questions and I'll try my best to provide the answers based on our practical experience. So here we go.
Okay, Mary Joy, today we are talking about the new trends for EB-1A petitions. So my first question is, what are the recent approval and denial trends for EB-1A petitions?
That's a good question. So it has gone down slightly, whereas approval rates were hovering around 72%. It's kind of gone down between 66 to 68%. So definitely a higher rate of denial. What we are seeing is cases are tending to remain high in terms of the pending process for adjudication, simply because USCIS has been stricter with adjudicating the issues of sustained and international. So sustained acclaim and international recognition. There tends to be a stricter application of Kazarian, which is the presiding case law. And what we are seeing is the denial rates, because of the stricter adjudication, has gone up, although slightly. It has gone up, not the same. So
yeah. And for your perspective, what is driving the increased scrutiny or lowered approval rates?
Yeah. So what the reason, at least one of our speculations, is the fact that there is a very, very sharp rise in EB-1A filing, right? This is driven by global professionals in the STEM field. We have researchers, we have business founders. And because of this, there is a stricter and a tougher level of scrutiny and tougher standard required by USCIS adjudicators. Specifically, they want to see that you've demonstrated international impact beyond your current company recognition, right? So what we see in most of these RFEs is, okay, yes, the company is a distinguished company, or the department's a distinguished department. However, you have not proven that you're of any benefit outside of your company, right? So that's one of the things. And then we also see a lot of pushback when it comes to third-party evidence, right? Such as like citations, awards, or media coverage. So there's a lot of pushback there. And then obviously there's the issue of ongoing acclaim, right? Not just past success, but what are you doing and what are you continuing to do, right? To show ongoing acclaim. So that's kind of what that trend looks like.
Okay, thank you, Mary Joy. Tell me more about how has demand changed for EB-1A petitions?
It hasn't really changed. In fact, demand has risen. It's historically rising. And this juxtaposed with pre-pandemic and post-pandemic filings, it shows a global competition for U.S. green cards amongst higher achievers, right? Exceptional ability. So it continues to attract people in the STEM fields, right? People in academics, innovators, right? Business owners. And these guys are really just looking for a faster way to bypass the perm process. And they really, quite frankly, don't want to deal with the stricter scrutiny of the EB-2NIW visa type. So definitely increasing. Yeah.
Okay, a lot of clients or prospective clients are asking us about backlogs. So Mary Joy, what's happening with USCIS backlogs and process times for EB-1A?
Yeah, the backlogs are real. So what is happening? So remember, there are two options for filing. It depends on what your economic abilities are. You could either file regular processing, which would take the normal processing time, which is where we are seeing the added 10 to 14 months of adjudication, right? So that, when it comes to regular processing, has definitely gotten longer, whereas with the premium processing, we're still seeing the same time frames, the 15 business day time frame to either approve or RFE, right? So definitely premium processing is looking more and more appealing, but also we're still seeing a higher level of RFEs on that front with the premium processing, because if 99% of the applicants are filing premium processing, there's only a limited amount of adjudicators to adjudicate within 15 days. So you do the math and the outcome.
Yeah, that's true. We have two important employment-based visas, EB-1A and EB-2NIW. Comparing these two, Mary Joy, how does EB-1A compare now with EB-2NIW in terms of approval rates and relative advantage?
That's a good question. We'll talk about the approval rates, right? So despite the fact that the EB-1A seems to have a more stricter criteria, it's still the more appealing, and it still has a higher forecast with regards to approval rates and fares better compared to the EB-2NIW, right? With regards to that, we're seeing approval rates for EB-1A at 66-ish%. We're seeing approval rates for EB-2NIW at about 54-ish%, right? From my personal practice and my personal experience, EB-2NIW has a higher burden to achieve, right? It's more of, okay, are you in a field that's critical? If yes, then how does that proposed endeavor foster national benefit and sustain? It basically, is it of benefit to the US? And that is very, very difficult for most people to prove. So EB-1A, although stricter, has a better outcome than EB-2NIW.
My other question, and very important one, is what should petitioners consider now when they are preparing for EB-1A application?
That's a very good question. And really, this question is what will determine the potential outcome, right? With regards to being closer to the truth of seeing a higher approval rate versus the other, spectrum. One of the things we like to emphasize, is quality over quantity. Sometimes we see applications and we see candidates and they have like 200 judgings, right? And we're not gonna file all 200. Right? We're not going to claim all 200. So focus on the quantity. So the regulation says 3 minimum. We like to do 5. If you have 3 strong, great. That's good. But I like to give more, but not just give more to give, but give more with the quantity, like the meat. What does that mean? If you're going to claim memberships, make sure these things are true. Right? The bylaws show exclusivity, prestigiousness, and it's selective, right? And then also too, when you join the memberships, build on those. Through certain organizations, you can publish, you can judge, peer review, right? You can present at conferences, right? So these things are true. When you present and you subsequently publish, that's an original contribution, right? So, and not just to do those things, but make sure, ask yourself, is this within my field? Are the people I'm catering to in my field of expertise that I'm claiming to be an expert in, right? Quantity over quality. When it comes to judging, same thing. Don't go judge high school. It's not gonna make it, not a probably, it won't make it. It has to be in a professional capacity. The other thing that you need to do, I always like to say, is emphasize independent recognitions, right? So what again stems back to citations, any presses, leadership roles, right? So independent recognitions, and also make sure you're providing clear narratives and links between the evidence and national and international acclaim. Specifically, for example, awards, right? There's this misconception or the comparison of the level of this criteria to be as recognized as a Nobel Prize, right? That's technically not what the case law says. That's not really the definition. So when you are focusing on what is a national and international acclaim, make sure that it is something that if someone is in that same professional field and they see that awards recognition, they know that this is definitely something that everyone in this field aspires for. If you can make that argument, then you have a better chance of an approval under that criteria than a denial under that criteria. And then of course, when preparing, like I mentioned, anticipate the RFEs. So don't just engage to engage with purpose. Always ask yourself, is this within my field? Is this something that is selective? Is it highly competitive, right? And is it exclusive? Is it prestigious? Is it looked up to within my field? So you always have to anticipate those weak points. Look at the bylaws, right? Think about the things that USCIS will ask and push back on in terms of credibility of these outlets. For example, media, right? If you're going to be presented on a newspaper or something thereabouts, look at the circulation, right? Look at the subscribers, look at all those things. And then lastly, if you're going to brand yourself, make sure you are consistent. Make sure you're consistent across your social media, LinkedIn. Make sure you're consistent among recommendation letters and any publications that you make. So when you publish with intention.
Thank you, Mary Joy, for the information that you share. It's very important for us, our audience, and amazing having you here.
Thank you, Liliani, and thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
If you guys would love to discuss further or assess your eligibility or your qualifications, please reach out to us. We would love to help you. You can reach out to us at www.sciencefirm.com and we'll be happy to assist you. Until then, goodbye.
Bye-bye.